Welcome to the Every Brain is Different podcast. It is Samantha and Lauren here with you today. And today we are talking about gratitude. I know it's shocking.
I love gratitude.
I know. It's good. It's good. Gratitude.
I've been using it in my life lately, so I can only imagine how helpful it could be.
How have you been using it in your life?
Well, mainly just because, my personal opinion is the world is terrible.
Mhm.
But not all of it is terrible, and looking at my life and like what is great, no matter how big or small it is. And so it helps keep me going every day.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. And I know when you're parenting and if your child is melting down, the last thing on your mind is gratitude, but it can help you calm down. It's actually a self-regulation tool, and that's why we're talking about it. Also, because it's Thanksgiving. I want to tell a story about how sometimes gratitude can actually stop whining or a meltdown like in its tracks. So on Halloween, we changed up our routine. We didn't go trick-or-treating in our neighborhood like we usually do. We actually went to my hometown and we did trunk-or-treating in my hometown down Main Street. And I thought it was going to be awesome. And my kids thought very differently. And I prepared them
Course.
ahead of time. I said, we're going to go trunk-or-treating. But I think in their head, they thought we were going to the trunk or treat, and then we were coming home and going trick or treating. And I guess I did not specify that that's not what we were doing. And so we went, and of course, I forgot my son's glove. And so he was devastated because he had his Spider-Man costume and there was not a glove on one hand. And so obviously his day was ruined. And then I forgot another part of my other son's costume and he
How
just
dare you?
refused to go trick-or-treating. And so, yeah, it was bad. And on the way home, my one son said, "You are the worst mom ever. You ruined Halloween. I can't believe you did this." And I said, "You could say that. Or you could say, Mom, thank you for getting me a costume. Thank you for taking me to get candy. Thank you for taking me to hang out with my cousins." And he just stopped and just stared at me. And he was so mad at me, but he did not complain anymore. It like stopped the
Like, how do
complaining.
you argue with that?
I know. And then my daughter looked at me and she's, "Mom," because she was complaining too. And she goes, "Mom, thank you for taking me to get a costume. Thank you for taking me to get candy." And her brother just glared at her and was in angry silence. But he couldn't argue with it because I had
Yeah.
done those things. So I'm not saying to do that to make fun of your kids, but also to remind them, like, yes, they're upset, but there's also things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Is life as bad as you're making it right now? Or can we look at how maybe there's also things to be grateful for in this moment that you're frustrated?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But gratitude isn't just a mindset. It definitely helps change your mindset. It's a nervous system regulation tool. It actually changes your nervous system. So, gratitude activates the parasympathetic nervous system that we talked about before. And this is the rest and digest system. And so, it actually activates that so it can make you healthier. And then it releases dopamine and serotonin, which help the brain feel calm and safe. And once again, dopamine and serotonin, if you're neurodivergent, you have issues with regulating your levels of dopamine and serotonin. So gratitude can help you do that. And then for parents of neurodivergent kids, I just want to say gratitude is not ignoring the hard moments. It's about
Yeah.
finding safety cues in the middle of the chaos. And so I'm not trying to have toxic positivity.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. We're just saying when things are hard, if you can find something to help you shift your focus from what's wrong to what's working, It also reduces the threat perception to your body, so that can help you calm down. And it just shifts your mindset from being like, poor me, this is never working, everything is going wrong, to maybe more not problem focused, but solutions focused. But we definitely want to acknowledge that things are hard. Things
Yes.
can be hard. We're not talking about toxic positivity. We're not saying, oh, everything is wonderful, because
That's
it's
a
not.
lie.
Yeah, we're being realistic, but maybe being solution focused instead of problem focused, and gratitude can help you do that. So, just an example, when your child is having a meltdown, you can say, I'm thankful my child feels safe enough to express their needs, instead of saying, why is this happening again?
I see
Uh,
that a lot to our friends where they're like, venting about like the struggle. And I'm like, if it makes you feel better, I know it doesn't. Just know that because of that, they feel safe, they trust you. And that's, you need to remind yourself of that in those moments.
Yeah, and you can still ask yourself, like, why is this happening? But when you recognize that it's a good thing that your kid feels safe to express themselves, the next step is to say, okay, how can I help them feel safe to express themselves and do it in an appropriate way that doesn't overstimulate me, or doesn't have
Escalate the
them having a
situation.
meltdown or escalating the situation. Yeah. So that's just an idea. And so, why does this matter? When we're dysregulated, we can't co regulate with our kids. And so, gratitude helps us reset. Kind of like my Halloween example, it did really reset my kid. After that, he stopped complaining about how I was the worst mom ever because I didn't take him to go trick or treating. Instead, we went trunk or treating. And so he moved on. He was able to move on and talk about other things. And that was awesome. So it kind of can be a reset. And how we can reset ourselves is finding micro moments of gratitude. So while making breakfast, you can just go over, a couple things that you're grateful for that day. Like the other day when I was making breakfast, I usually wake up every morning at 3 a.m., not on purpose. I don't know what my body is doing, but it has decided that 3 a.m. is a perfect wake up time. No, it's not. But I usually wake up and I can't go back to sleep. And the other day I slept in until almost 7 a.m. and I was so grateful. I felt like I was on cloud nine all day. And I was just so grateful for that. So that's something, that's kind of a bigger thing, a small thing. I don't know. All things seem big to me when it comes to sleep. Oh, my kids didn't get in my bed last night, or my kid didn't bother me while I was trying to sleep. Something like that. Like I take sleep very seriously. So
Of course
that
you
might be a
should.
small thing to you. It might be a big thing. It just depends on what you struggle with. But making a list of things that you're grateful for, while you're making breakfast or during transition. So even if you're late to school, you can say, I'm glad we made it to school. Even if we're late, we're here. It's fine. And then in the car before pickup or at bedtime, you can go over things like just have those small micro moments of gratitude, because even though we're not doing toxic positivity, we can still say something that we're grateful for in the middle of acknowledging that something is hard. So if you take a breath, if you take a breath for a minute before helping your child who's escalating, you can say, this is really hard. My child is escalating. I'm not sure what to do. I'm grateful that I have time to breathe right now before it's time to go into helping them. And then the practical tools, because I love practical tools, is to keep three good things note on your phone. I did this for a long time, and then in true ADHD fashion, I missed it one day and never did it again.
Same. Good intentions, have a little day planner at the end of the
Yeah.
day or the next day. Like, what were the three great things or gratitude for the previous day? It's doing good. And then you missed a couple days. I was like, well,
That's over. We had a good run. I even bought a specific planner that was like my gratitude journal or something where it had the date and then 3 lines and you just wrote 3 things that you were grateful for. And I was so proud of myself for writing in that thing every day. And I truly was like
Mm-hmm.
happier and I looked at things with more solution focused mindset and all of that. And then I missed a day and I never went back. So
I
I'm gonna start
do.
doing that again.
I do. I plug in my Finch app again,
Yeah,
again, and they
yeah.
have like different prompts, and one of them is like gratitude specific, and it kind of changes every day to focus on different things, but within the gratitude realm. That was a hard
Yeah.
word for me.
That's awesome. I love that app that you talk about, like the Finch app. Like
My favorite.
it's, yeah, it's pretty cool. So if you haven't looked at that, because we've plugged it a couple times, so what's wrong with you? Why haven't you gone and looked at it? No, just kidding. No, it's really awesome, especially for like neurodivergent brains who need some outside help to get things
Mm-hmm.
going.
Yeah.
And then another thing, like just micro moment of gratitude, like we talked about, say one thing that you're grateful for out loud during your daily routine. And then the next thing is to pair with music for sensory integration. And so I've talked about this before. If you add music to things, it stays in your brain, it releases different chemicals in your brain, and just is a better experience overall, I would say. And you can do like a blues song to it. So usually blues is like problem, problem, solution. So, but you could change it to like grateful 3 times, you know? So you can be like, instead of saying, oh, I am hungry, oh, I am hungry, I'm gonna eat a sandwich. That is my example every time. But it's problem, I am hungry,
Great example.
problem, I am hungry, solution, I'm gonna eat a sandwich. You could say 3 things that you're grateful for and get like, you can accompany yourself on the piano or guitar or get a YouTube track or get percussion instruments and just kind of make it an activity with your kids and, or do it yourself and just come up with things that you're grateful for. And then you can sing about them and have that experience with your kids or by yourself and get all the benefits of that sensory integration.
Love it.
And speaking of modeling gratitude for kids, that's what we're going to talk about next. Kids learn emotional regulation by watching us. And so when we talk about what we're grateful for, they can see what we're grateful for. They can see us modeling that. And then you can ask them, what are you grateful for? If they don't do well with questions, if they have PDA and they get anxiety from questions, you can just say, I'm grateful for this and just leave it at that. And then if they want to say what they're grateful for, then they say what they're grateful for. Or you can show gratitude in context. So you might say, like, when they tell you that they need space or they push you away or whatever, you can say, thank you for telling me you need space. That helps me understand what you need. And so just putting it in that context instead of just saying thank you can say why you're saying thank you. I always say that. Someone in my life is always thank you. And I'm like, for what? They'll just randomly be like, thank you. And I'm like, for being fabulous? Like, why are you telling
And
me
more
thank you?
specifics.
Yeah, yeah. And so when we focus on thanking our kids, we can show them gratitude and then also model what it looks like to show gratitude. And then when you are being specific about saying thank you, like specifically what you're thankful for, and you're being authentic, that might look like, I love how you helped your brother when he was upset, or thank you for being kind when you shared your toy. Something like that. Like you're saying thank you and you're being specific and you're not just saying thank you for being you. Yeah, make it specific. Because also, neurodivergent brains thrive on specificity. Our brains like when we get details. So,
Yes.
yeah. And then some more stuff about making it sensory. Make it a sensory experience because that helps the brain pathways go a little quicker than if you just do it auditorily or just express gratitude one way. Something you could do is, they have those gratitude jars that you fill with things that you're grateful for, and then you take them out and you look at them and you read them and all that stuff. If that's too much for your kid, you could also just fill a jar with something. So, you could give them a physical object like a colored stone or a pom-pom or a Lego piece or a small wooden token, and just have them put one of those in, and then when they look at that jar, they can know that they are grateful for so many things that can remind them of everything that they're grateful for. So, if they don't do well with writing things down or they don't want to do that, then just fill up a jar so they can see it and be like, look how many things you're grateful for. I'm grateful for this, like stuff like that. So that's just an idea, something you could
I love
do.
that. I love that. I'm gonna. I was reading the notes before this, and
Yeah.
I love that idea with the Lego in a jar, and then but like incorporating the whole family, like so everyone gets to put Legos in the jar, like as they're grateful for something, and then like at the end of the week, like you have to dump out that jar and then build something together as a family, like reminiscing about those things. And so I thought that was like a really cute idea.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely like that would work well in my house. Maybe we should do that. We have a big jar. Say if you fill this jar up by the end of the week, then well, not even put a time limit on it. Just say when this jar is filled, we're gonna dump it out and build something cool,
Yeah,
and then just have a cool experience as a family. So I
exactly.
don't recommend putting a time limit on it because that's a little inauthentic, and we want authentic
Yeah.
gratitude.
What am I grateful for? I need to put a Lego in there.
Yeah, yeah. Or I could see my kids just being ridiculous and be like, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this, and not be like
Again,
real about it.
authentically, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They're just being like saying everything just because they can.
Yeah.
So anyway, it could go both ways, but if it works for you, there's an idea for you. And the next one is music or rhythm-based gratitude rituals. This is kind of like we're talking about the blues song, but you can make up different songs. Like you can make up your own song, or I really love doing my favorite things. The song from Sound of Music. It's like raindrops on roses and
Oh,
whiskers
yeah,
on
okay.
yeah, that one. I like doing that and the kid like in the groups that I work with, and kids can say their favorite things, and or adults. I've done it with adults too. And then you get out percussion instruments and everyone just like drums along or plays an egg shaker or whatever while you're singing the song. And so that can be like a fill in the blank type song that you can do. So instead of raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, then you can say, I don't know, I'm looking at my kitchen. We have birthday cake. So you say cake and popcorn and pop and
On
noodles.
counters.
I don't know. You know, I just saw everything in my kitchen. So you can like list favorite snacks or favorite toys or favorite activities, whatever. Just ask your kids what their favorite things are, make the song together. And then when you're needing kind of a shift in energy, you can start singing that song to remind them of everything that they're grateful for. And then the next one is drawing or sensory gratitude walks. So you can go on a gratitude walk through your neighborhood or even your backyard and invite your child to tell you what feels good to them. So, what do you see that you like right now? What do you smell that you like right now? What sounds do you hear that you like? And then you can follow that up with drawing. So, come back and draw the things that you saw or write what you saw or what you heard or any of that. And then doing this helps your kid connect the body and the brain experience of common appreciation. And it's less about saying I'm grateful and more about feeling it because they go outside, they're telling you what they're seeing, what they're hearing, what they're smelling, all the things that they're feeling, and then they're coming back and drawing it, and that just kind of cements it in the brain. And then why all this works for autistic and ADHD kids is because gratitude can feel very abstract. And so you make it a sensory experience it can take that from, an abstract thing to making it concrete, visual, and the sensory gives their brain something to anchor to rather than it just being like this some abstract thought.
Yeah.
And so it turns gratitude into a body-based practice, not just a cognitive one. And these approaches let kids experience what gratitude feels like in their bodies, a steady breath, slower heart rate, relaxed muscles, which helps them build awareness of self-regulation over time. Instead of just talking about it, they're actually feeling it in their body.
Love how the brain works.
I know, it's so wild. The more I learn
Crazy.
about the brain, the more I'm just like, that's cool. And how the brain can repair itself through doing different things and all of that. I just think it's so cool. Once again, we want to recognize that gratitude can feel hard, and parenting burnout and emotional exhaustion is a real thing. And gratitude does not erase any of those hard emotions like grief or frustration or overwhelm. It coexists with them. It does not erase them. It does not make them go away. It just coexists with them and maybe makes things a little bit better. So you can be grateful and tired. You can love your kid deeply and still feel depleted. Like all those things can coexist. So if you need permission to take small steps, this is your permission. Just start with one moment a day of gratitude and you can go from there. Don't start doing all these things at once. Don't start saying the gratitude out loud every day, writing 3 things down, making up songs with your kids, going on gratitude walks. Don't start all of that tomorrow. Just pick one thing, one small thing, and start with that. And then remember that gratitude rewires your brain toward calm. And when your brain is calm, your child's brain can borrow from your calm. So that's what I got.
Like
If,
it.
if you're looking for more support in this area, or if you're looking for support like understanding neurodivergence or understanding parenting strategies, anything like that, we are enrolling in our parenting membership right now. And it's $11 a month where you come, you get support, you get education. It's really about getting the support that you need from parents who get it. I mean, I'm in there, but other parents are in there who understand what you're going through. And so that's why I made the group was really for support and for you to be able to talk to other parents who understand what you're going through. So,
You don't have to do it alone.
yeah, for sure. And I hope everyone has a fantastic Thanksgiving and we will talk to you later. Thank you.